This tutorial looks at storyboards. What are they? How do they work? Why are they important? Well, to me, they're absolutely essential when planning your website, because without them, you're kind of boldly going out into the darkness. So, I mean, it's very important that we actually think about what's involved, many pages, navigational structure, the design, color schemes, the layout, all of these things before we ever start on on the actual design of the website itself, when you actually start designing it, creation, etc. Because if we don't, we'll spend so much time changing our mind over and over again, and it will make the actual design process way longer than it needs to be. So the storyboard, and in conjunction with the next tutorial, which is flowcharts, are absolutely essential to the whole process. So what is a storyboard? Well, we've all probably heard the term, or maybe we haven't, but I imagine most of us will have heard the term storyboard. And it's normally used in conjunction with things like filmmaking, etc. So it helps us to decide on the story, okay, the layout, the information, the content, the way you want to present your information, okay? So a storyboard is a graphical representation of each and every page of a website. Now that's really important. It's not just of one page or your home page, it's each and every page. Now, quite often, many of your pages in a website will bear huge resemblance to your homepage. And there will be differences, of course, but there'll be huge similarities between the pages. So it's still really important to figure out exactly, your layout, your structure, your navigation, all of these things, okay? You've got to lay out your storyboard in as much detail as possible. So in certain cases, you'll have people putting in blocks on the screen and saying this will be a picture of a bridge, okay? That's fair enough, that's acceptable. But if you have the picture of the bridge already, put it in, okay? As well as that, you might say this will be about my hotel, giving information such as the opening times, closing times, and facilities open at a certain time. That's fine to do that in a block as well. But if you have the actual text, put it in, okay? It will really help you going forward, because then you really start to see what it will look like in real time, okay? So a storyboard, for want of a better description, is a mock-up of your website, okay? It's put together in order to help the designer to visualize the website and to ensure that the website stays true to its aims. Now that's very important. If your aim of your website is to sell something, that should be at the forefront of your design. If it's to promote something, that should be at the forefront of your design. If it's to share customer service, etc., that should be to the forefront, and so on. So it's really important that you start to see this, and you'll start to see, hopefully, your entire project come full circle, right from your aims right through to your design, etc. But you've got to remain true, okay? So as I said, it's a mock-up of your website, a graphical representation of your website in as much detail as possible. Some people are well able to draw, and they like to draw, and they might draw the actual website. Other people, it might be done on something like PowerPoint, which is by far the most common method used in this particular module. So it should lay out exactly what you're trying to do. There's no harm in if you have sides like this in this particular diagram here, and shows maybe little commentary on different things and so on if you want to. Remember that a web page could be, in some cases, a lot longer than a PowerPoint slide. So you might be able to show that over two PowerPoints, or if you want, you could show it under one, okay? So this kind of thing will help us to start figuring out exactly what's involved in our website and how we might lay it out, okay? The same with anything. You should do a storyboard if you're doing an app or anything like that. So anything that can be visual can be storyboarded, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an example of Kilmainham Jail and what they've done, okay? So their homepage looks like this. And this is the storyboard version of it. Now, If you look across the top, this is the French storyboard version of it, but you can see the general layout of the site. Okay, they have their title on the top, they have the search box up on the top right hand side, along with social media icons and language icons. They have a logo on the top left hand corner, they have their menu across the top, and then across the bottom they have a footer with links and opening hours and stuff like that, and contacts. And in the middle you will see the image, obviously, and the welcome note, and a little scrolling, what's known as an iframe, which we'll be looking at later on in the course, okay, to allow people to access more information if they want, okay. So this is the kind of thing, okay. If you look at the other pages, and I'm not going to go through every single one of the pages, but just even the four that are visible on the screen here, it becomes very apparent that their header and their footer are almost identical. They don't change. The only bit that changes is you'll notice that the gallery image on the first page becomes slightly smaller on the rest of them, with a title beside it, using a good, nice kind of a textured color to fit in with the images. And then the actual main body is slightly different on all of them, okay. So I'm just going to show this one here. This one here is of a page about Explore, and there is a video there. What I would do in this particular case is I would actually put the outline of the video here to show how big the video is going to be, whether it's going to be this size here, whether it's going to be the full gap here. So I would do that. And also I would say video of something. It's not good enough to say image or picture. You've got to say picture of something. So like they might say a picture of Kilmainham jail here, okay, of the cells, the outside of the cells, okay, in the hallway, or video of whatever, okay. So it's better to actually do that, because number one, it starts you thinking about what the video is going to be of, and start you thinking about maybe what's involved in that. And if you remember going back to the content analysis tutorial a couple back, you'll remember that, you know, this particular group of people went into huge detail about the video and what's going to be involved in the video. So they've obviously thought that process out. You'll also notice here that this particular page here has 3 other links from it, okay? This is along with the ones that are up here on top, okay? As well as that, you can see it carefully or closely here when you focus in on this, that it has breadcrumbs as well, saying that they're in the Home Explore page. So it lets people know where they are on the whole process as well, which is quite useful, okay? And just looking at these here, in total, the Kilmainham jail site has 11 pages, okay? Now, there's no magic number when it comes to the number of pages that you have to have on your site or in your storyboard. But as I said earlier, it's very important that your storyboard resembles what you're going to do, and more importantly, has each and every one of your pages. So in this particular case, the Kilmainham jail website actually had 11 pages at the end, okay, and exactly the same as this. And you can, I'll show you an example in a minute, but I'm just going to look at the very last page, the Kilmainham jail, the Explore, and the actual route to follow and so on. What they've done here, again, it's very similar to the video page a few minutes ago, but what they have here is they have links down along here. And what was nice, they included what are known as hotspots in this image. So if I clicked here, it would bring me to that part of the actual site, or clicked here, it would bring me to that part of the site, and so on. So it was interactive as well, and very user friendly. So, you know, all of those things are important, okay? So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to finish off by showing you the storyboard versus the actual, okay? So this is the storyboard of the video page, okay? And that's the way it looked like in the storyboard, and this is the way it looked like when it was actually created, okay? So you can see here that obviously the video uses the same textured colors as here. They obviously have a table around this, slightly different, okay? Anything else? Yeah, they got rid of the search box, okay? But as well as that, everything else is very similar to what they actually, between the plan, which is over here, and the actual, which is over here, okay? So the storyboard should help us to make these decisions prior to getting into the design phase. If we don't make the decisions now, it'll make it a lot more difficult when we get to design. And, you know, in all fairness, we'll be taking 1 step forward, 2 steps back, etc. So it's really important that we put the time and effort into our storyboard, because for a number of reasons. Number one, everyone in your group will understand what you're trying to achieve. And at that point in time, you will have put a little bit of effort into the storyboard, a little bit of effort into design, but believe me, not half as much effort as you will put into it when you go to the design phase. And it's a lot easier to change your storyboard than it is to change your overall design. Okay, so this is the time to make that decision.